November 22nd, 1963, marked one of the darkest days in American history, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. A sunny day in Dallas, Texas, was abruptly eclipsed by the shadow of an unthinkable tragedy. The nation's youthful and charismatic leader, beloved by many, was gunned down in his prime, leaving a nation and the world in stunned disbelief. It was a day when time appeared to stand still. The normal humdrum of life was replaced by a deafening silence as the news spread. The streets were hushed, businesses closed, and homes turned into spaces of mourning. The American dream, it seemed, had been abruptly interrupted. It was a moment of shared national grief, a collective gasp that echoed across the country and beyond its borders. But this was not just an American tragedy. The news rippled across the globe, from the frosty reaches of the Soviet Union to the bustling streets of London and Paris. The world, too, was in shock. The man who had stood as a beacon of hope and promise for a brighter future was no more. This devastating event did not occur in a vacuum. The Cold War, a tense and dangerous dance between two superpowers, was at its peak. Kennedy had been a pivotal player on this global stage, navigating through the Cuban Missile Crisis and advocating for peace in a world teetering on the brink of nuclear disaster. His untimely death added another layer of uncertainty to an already fraught geopolitical landscape. The Kennedy assassination didn't just rob America of a president, it stole away a sense of security, of optimism, and of a certain innocence. The world watched in horror as the promise of a peaceful end to the Cold War was shattered. This tragic event sent shockwaves around the world, marking a significant turning point in the Cold War. To fully grasp the cultural impact of Kennedy's assassination, one must understand the context of the Cold War. The Cold War, spanning from the mid-20th century, was an era of high tension and conflict, although not direct warfare, between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This was a time when the world was essentially divided into two spheres of influence, each vying for dominance. The ideological struggle between capitalism and communism was at the heart of this conflict, with each side asserting its system as the superior one. John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, played a significant role in this global drama. His presidency, although cut short, was marked by significant Cold War events. The Cuban Missile Crisis, one of the most notable, was a 13-day standoff in 1962 between the United States and the Soviet Union concerning the installation of nuclear-armed Soviet missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from US shores. Kennedy's firm stance and strategic diplomacy during this crisis averted a nuclear catastrophe and won him significant acclaim. However, Kennedy's presidency was not just about averting disasters. He also made strides towards peace. His famous American University speech in 1963, where he proposed a nuclear test ban treaty, signified a shift towards de-escalation and peaceful coexistence. Yet these strides towards peace were overshadowed by the sudden and tragic end of Kennedy's life. His assassination on November 22, 1963, shocked the world. The leader who had steered the nation through the treacherous waters of the Cold War was gone, leaving behind a nation in mourning and a world in shock. Kennedy's leadership during this tense era was abruptly ended, leaving the nation and the world in uncertainty. In the immediate aftermath of Kennedy's assassination, the world stood still in shock. The event was a seismic jolt to an already tumultuous socio-political landscape. The nation, grappling with the loss of its charismatic leader, found itself in a state of collective mourning. People from all walks of life, irrespective of their political affiliations, were united in their grief. The sudden void in leadership was quickly filled by Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson. Sworn in on the same day, just hours after the fatal incident, Johnson's inauguration took place aboard Air Force One, a testament to the urgency of maintaining the continuity of the presidency. His immediate challenge was to navigate the nation through this time of a crisis, while also upholding Kennedy's vision for the country. However, the shock of the assassination was not limited to the United States alone. The world watched, riveted and horrified as the events unfolded. Cold War adversaries, allies, and neutral nations alike expressed their condolences, reflecting the global significance of Kennedy's presidency. Simultaneously, an extensive investigation was set into motion to unravel the circumstances surrounding Kennedy's death. The Warren Commission, named after its chairman, Chief Justice Earl Warren, was tasked with this responsibility. The Commission's findings, released in September 1964, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in assassinating Kennedy. Yet, the report was met with skepticism by many, giving rise to a multitude of conspiracy theories that continue to circulate to this day. The assassination marked a dramatic shift in the nation's leadership and direction during a critical historical moment. The Cold War era had just witnessed one of its most defining events, an event that would continue to shape global politics and culture for decades to come. The impact of Kennedy's assassination didn't end in the immediate aftermath. It continued to shape American culture and politics for decades. In the wake of Kennedy's death, a palpable shift occurred in the American psyche. A nation that had once been brimming with optimism and hope was now grappling with a profound sense of loss, disbelief, and skepticism. This tragedy played a significant role in the erosion of public trust in government, a trend that would only intensify in the years to come. The assassination also had far-reaching implications for American foreign policy. The Vietnam War, a conflict that Kennedy had been hesitant to escalate, took a dramatic turn under his successor, Lyndon B. Johnson. The war expanded rapidly and became a defining issue of the 1960s, deeply dividing the nation and sparking widespread protests. The seeds of this division were sown in the aftermath of the Dallas tragedy as the nation grappled with a radically altered geopolitical landscape. Domestically, the assassination left an indelible mark on policy. In the wake of the national trauma, Johnson pushed for the passage of landmark legislation, including the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. These policies, aimed at fulfilling Kennedy's vision for a more equitable America, were met with both acclaim and pushback, further underscoring the deep divisions within the country. Moreover, the assassination became a touchstone in American culture, shaping everything from literature and film to popular music. The tragic event and its aftermath became a common theme, a symbol of lost innocence and a nation in turmoil. The Kennedy assassination was not just a singular event, it was a turning point, a moment that fundamentally altered the trajectory of American history. It ushered in an era of skepticism, division, and change, the effects of which are still felt today. The echoes of that tragic day in Dallas continue to resonate in American culture and politics. So, what does the cultural impact of the Kennedy assassination tell us about that time in history and about our society today? The cultural reverberations of the Kennedy assassination extend far beyond the immediate shock and grief experienced in the aftermath of that fateful day in November 1963. It changed the very perception of the presidency and left an indelible mark on the collective psyche of American society. The presidency, once viewed as an invincible institution, was suddenly seen as vulnerable. The assassination shattered the illusion of security and stability that had been associated with the highest office in the land. The tragic event underscored the fragility of life, even for those in the most powerful positions, and this realization resonated deeply within the American psyche, dramatically altering the public's perception of the presidency. The assassination also had long-lasting effects on American society. It ushered in an era of intense skepticism and mistrust towards government institutions. People began to question the official narratives, and this healthy skepticism laid the groundwork for a more engaged and questioning citizenry. The shock of the assassination, combined with the controversial findings of the Warren Commission, sparked a wave of conspiracy theories that persist to this day. Moreover, the Kennedy assassination marked a turning point in media coverage. It was one of the first major news events to be broadcast live on television, bringing the harsh realities of the event directly into American homes. This direct and unfiltered exposure to such a traumatic event had profound effects on the collective consciousness of the American people, forever changing the way we consume and interact with news. Finally, the cultural impact of the Kennedy assassination extends to the arts. It has been a subject of countless books, movies, and songs, reflecting our society's ongoing fascination and struggle to make sense of this pivotal moment in history. The assassination of John F. Kennedy remains a defining moment in American history, its cultural impact still felt today.